Okay, so welcome to the Kayla Show.
It's silent now, we don't say a word, we're just looking at each other.
Today we are doing makeup and Diabolic Part 3, the final part. Okay, so where we last left off, Tyrus is about to got. He is about to be killed by the people down on the planet, and Naveni has showed up to like tell Nemesis that like, yeah, this is gonna happen, but don't worry, you're gonna be safe. Okay, so it's dark. She's in bed. Naveni's leaning over her. Naveni's like,
yeah, he's gonna die.
And Nemesis is like, what? So she jumps out of bed. She's all strong immediately. She's like, where are they? Naveni's like,
it's too late to try to save him. He's already been taken to be executed.
Nemesis like grabs her by the throat and is like, tell me where he is. And Naveni's like,
what are you?
Nemesis says, I was Sidonia Imperion's Diabolic, and you're gonna tell me where Tyrus is right now. Naveni's being choked. And then like these guards come in, and then like she's like, pew, 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 pew. She beats up all those guards. Naveni's like, they're at the city hall. And so Nemesis like jumps out of there. She's gotta like knock Naveni out. She steals this like flying car that they have, flies it to the city hall. When she's there, it's like a ton of people. She can see there's like a stage with Tyrus on it, kneeling, but he's like bound with handcuffs and like they're about to super kill this dude. She's like, no! So she starts like leaping through the crowd because she's super strong. She like somehow got a gun, I forget. I think she like stole it from one of the guards. She's like pew, 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 shoots up all the guards, and then she like turns around and like pew, hits his cuffs so that they come off because she's an expert marksman. And he's like, whoa, this was cool. So now she's got him free. All the guards are subdued. She's ready to like murder everyone. And Tyrus is like, wait! She's like, what? I'm in the middle of saving you. Okay, so can I finish what I was trying to do? Thank you. And he's like, don't kill them. And she's like, they were about to kill you, man. And he's like, wait. The people, the leaders of Luminar, that's the name of the planet. Will you please just hear me out? Like, let's just talk about this. And then after you hear me out, if you still decide you want to kill me, okay, fine. I'll abide by that decision. And Nemesis is like, but okay, he's the smart one, and he's like, Nemesis will put down her gun. And she's like, excuse me, this is my gun. I'm not gonna be putting it down. She's like, put it down. She's like, fine. So she decides to trust Tyrus, even though everything in her is saying no, she must protect. So she puts it down. They go into like a room with all of the leaders of the Luminars. Tyrus is like, okay, so you guys want to kill me because of what my uncle did as the Emperor. That makes complete sense. I totally get why you want to do that. However, I think I approached this the wrong way, which A+ diplomacy to like admit that he made a mistake. That was smart. He's like, I think I came in here trying to be like, oh, like, trust me, but I never gave you a reason to trust me. So let me give you a reason right now. And he pulls out this little vial and he sets it on the desk, and everyone's just looking at it like, okay. He's like, do you know what this is? And they're like, nah. And he says, this is resolved mist. And everyone's like, and he's like, that's right. I had this on me. Even standing up there, about to be killed and executed, I had this on me, and I refused to use it. And meanwhile, you as the reader, you're like, what is that? Why are they freaking out? Well, apparently, it's a biological weapon. It can be keyed in to kill people. It'll like spread throughout the atmosphere so that you can't escape from it. And so apparently it's a weapon that has been used by emperors before, but it's like soup's bad. Taboo to even talk about it because like it was such a horrible way to kill people. So everyone's shocked that Tyrus has had this and he never used it. He could have used it to save himself, but he didn't. And so he explains, the reason I didn't use it is because I am not like my uncle. I don't want to kill people. I want to be a good one. And like, if y'all would just give me a chance, and I think together we could make a difference in this empire. Nemesis is like looking around like, there's no way they're gonna not do revenge. I'm about to have to fight our way out of this. But then the Luminars are like, you know what? We're in. We're in. We will trust you. And he's like, okay, sweet. And they're like, okay, so we're gonna stop trying to secede from the empire. You know, we'll let you go back and not be executed. But here's the thing. You need to become the emperor so that you can like treat us better. And he's like, deal. So they've resolved the situation on Luminar. So they're like, okay, cool. So we're gonna go. We've done what we needed to, and you did try to kill us. So I think we're gonna, you know, we're gonna jet. And so they get back on their ship and they're going back, and Nemesis is like, I cannot believe that worked. You talked your way out of this problem. That's insane. And he's like, yeah, that's kind of what I do. It's really cute because now that they're back on the ship, he's all shaky and stuff, and he's like, and she like realizes that like he was scared the whole time. He didn't know it was gonna work. That's part of his personality, is that like in a crisis, he's good. Like he will like be calm, collected, handle it. But then like as soon as it's over, it's like, I can get behind that. I like that. Okay, so she's like, it worked. You were soups brave. That was cool. And he's like, you're amazing. Like, I thought I was about to straight up lose my life, and I had like accepted it. And then you came like blazing in on a flying car, hopping through the crowd. You shot my handcuffs off. Like, that was incredible. I've never had that before, like had someone who I could rely on, which is really sad. And so he's like, I'm really amazed with you. And she's like, thanks. And he's like really amazed by you. And so he kisses her. And she's like, oh my gosh, maybe I am human, because this kiss is very nice. There's no one here to like fool into thinking that we're dating or anything. Like, this is just for us. And so she kisses him back because she's like, yeah, he was cool. Okay, so they're in a little love bubble, like, you're the best. No, you're the best, babe. No, you're the best. And la la la, it's so good. But he's Soup's tired. He just had a big ordeal, and he's like, how are you not tired? And she's like, I'm a diabolic. We don't get tired. Look at these eyebrows. Okay, just wait. Trust the process. Don't click off. So he's tired, and he's like, I gotta go to sleep. And she's like, cool. I'm gonna go check on my dog. She goes to look for her dog. And when she gets into the room, this was the worst part of the book. She gets into the room and Deadly's there, and he's like, and he's sick. She's like, what the heck? And so she's like trying to help him. I think he's like shaking and like he's like having a seizure almost. And so she's just like, oh my gosh, my baby. And so she like calls the doctor who's on the ship. He's like, yeah, it's some sort of disease from the planet. This is what happens when you take space creatures to the planet. You should have thought of this, which I was like, rude. Like, obviously she just wanted her dog to enjoy some time in the sunshine, and now you're gonna like make her feel bad because he caught a deadly disease? That's what people do, I guess. Well, anyways, and he gets like, beep, 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 oh, I gotta go. And the doctor leaves all of a sudden. She's like, okay. So she's just left to deal with it, and she's like blaming herself. Like, she just thought he would like to smell all the smells on the planet, and now here he is, like, suffering. He's dying. And so she has to I am legend him. She helps him through onto the Rainbow Bridge, and he's dead. It was the worst part of the book. Like, don't even talk to me for a second after I read that, because I was like, not the dog. So she's super sad. So she's like, where's Tyrus? That guy liked me, and being liked feels better than having killed my dog. So I'm gonna go find him. So she's going, and she goes into his quarters, and guess who's there? The doctor, because guess what? Tyrus also caught some sort of sickness on the planet. And she's like, I kind of forgot that this dude is just a regular human, and, you know, he's not soup strong like I am. She's like, dang, that's gross. She's like, ew, he's not strong enough to fight off bacterias? Ew. Why would I like a guy like that? It's actually a lot more dramatic. She's just like, we're not the same. Me, like, I don't get sick, but here he is, this fragile little human, and like, what? I'm gonna like tie my life to his and like care? No, that's a recipe for disaster, because look, I cared about my dog, and now my dog's dead. So like, why would I ever allow myself to care about anything else? Which of course is stupid, but that's what she thinks. So she's like, I'm a diabolic. I will never love. Love is for squares. He's like, I'll be better soon. And she's like, okay, bye. See you soon. But really, she's like, I will never love you again. Then for the rest of the trip, he does get better. It was just some sort of disease, but the doc was able to like pull him through. But she's kind of ignoring him. She's like, look, I don't care about you anymore. And so he like corners her, you know, they're still on the way back to the ship. And he like corners her in the ship and he's like,
you're avoiding me.
She's like, no, I'm not.
You're obviously avoiding me. Like, what? Was it like, I didn't mean to like freak you out with making out with you, but like, I thought we were like in love or whatever.
And she's like, I'm a diabolic. I don't fall in love. I can't do that, okay? Like, you want something I can't give you. And he's like,
I know what I felt.
And she's like, no, you were putting that on me. I felt nothing. Your kisses mean nothing to me. And he's like,
okay, well then I'm sorry for trying to make you feel something. We will just go back to a business relationship.
She's like, good. That's all I want is a business relationship with you. He's like,
okay, ma'am.
So now they get back to the court, and the emperor comes up and he's like,
my nephew, did you handle the planet? Did you, do the thing?
And Tyrus is like, oh, you mean this? And like in front of the whole court, he holds up the little vial of resolvent mist, and the whole court's like, because you know, it's like very taboo. The emperor's like, and Tyrus is like, no, uncle, I thought that maybe I would listen to my beautiful Sidonia because she said that sometimes you can solve things with words. And so I tried it and it worked. So like, instead of trying to kill everyone, why don't we just talk to them? The emperor is like,
yeah, good. I'm very happy that you did this. This is fine with me.
Which of course is like, this was kind of Tyrus's first move against the emperor, because now everyone knows that, first of all, because too, he says, well, I figured you would want me to not, you know, kill the planet people because they make us money, and I know that the royal coffers are running dry. And everyone's just like, because also, that's like another part of it, is that the emperor has been spending money like crazy, and like he's poor now. So now, okay, so he's made his first move, that the emperor is like a blood-hungry bad dude, and Tyrus is like a good dude who doesn't want to kill people. And he outed in front of everyone, even though everyone kind of knew, but like, you don't talk about it, that the emperor is like losing money crazy. The emperor's like, so now Tyrus is in a vulnerable position, right? Nemesis is like kind of called to him constantly to protect him, because, you know, he doesn't know when his uncle gonna retaliate. Well, finally she gets back to her rooms. She's like,
it's good to be home after falling in love and then realizing that I shouldn't fall in love because love sucks. Because people die and my dog died and everything is the worst.
And it takes her a second to realize something's different in this room. Someone's here. She's not sure what it is, but something in her diabolic mind is like, bing, 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 someone's here. So she's like,
show yourself.
And out comes this person. And guess who it is? You're never gonna guess. You will literally, okay, you probably guessed by now because I made it a big deal. It's Sidonia. Do you want me to explain? Okay, I will explain. She is like disguised as like a servant, and she's here. And Nemesis is like,
what? Because you're supposed to be dead.
And Sidonia explains that actually she had stowed aboard this ship before the Emperor like fired on their planet, and she had been traveling to come see Nemesis. She hadn't been killed, and she hadn't even heard about what happened until she got here. And then she like realized that like she had narrowly escaped purely by accident, because like she'd just been like, Nemesis needs me, I'm gonna go help. Stowed aboard a ship, and like now she's here and she's alive. And Nemesis is like, oh my god, this is the best news I've ever heard. And she's like, okay, so everything has changed now, because firstly, her person is back. So all those thoughts about revenge or overthrowing the empire, forget it. My girl's back. Literally, this is my purpose, is to just be with Sidonia again. Well then, you know, Sidonia's like, cool, you know, we don't have to really tell anyone that I'm back because I'm supposed to be dead. If we make it clear that I'm not dead, if we stop the ruse of pretending that Nemesis is Sidonia, then we will end up murdered, executed. So like, we can't do that. And Nemesis is like, cool, cool, cool. So she tells Sidonia, you know, all about what's been going on. And Sidonia's just like, what? So yeah, so she and Tyrus are in a weird spot right now. So she like doesn't tell Tyrus about Sidonia just yet. She just wants to keep Sidonia safe. So she's like, Sidonia, stay here, read a book. Which of course I'm like, that's the perfect thing, is to just like chill in your room and have zero responsibilities and read a freaking book. So Sidonia's in hiding in her room, reading books. Okay, the job is still to get Tyrus on the throne, and then he'll figure out the rest, because like she's seen how Tyrus is able to solve things. So like she trusts him with this. Meanwhile, Tyrus is still making moves. There's like this big race thing. Tyrus's person like loses, and then Tyrus is magnanimous to him, which like shows the court how kind Tyrus is. So everyone's like,
He would make a good ruler, right?
Then Cygna shows up in Nemesis / Sidonia's like room, and she's like,
Be my spy.
and Nemesis is like,
Never.
Cygna's like,
You have made an enemy. You have made an enemy.
which actually they talk a lot about how Cygna looks young because of the space technology, but like I can't help but picture her as like an old lady because she's supposed to be the grandma. Well, anyway, so then Cygna starts pushing this other girl on Tyrus, like,
Tyrus, now that you're not crazy anymore, you should totally date this girl. This is the girl the family would like you to date.
and it's this girl who's like been a turd this whole time. She's like an enemy of Sidonia, so like Nemesis hates her. Her name is Elantra. So now it's like, okay, so we all see what's happening here. Well, then Tyrus is talking to Nemesis like at one of their secret meetings, and he's like, you know what? Maybe we should let this happen. Like, okay, if I'm gonna be emperor, I am gonna need a wife. You've made it clear we're just business. So like, okay, fine. So maybe this will be my little emperor wife. And Nemesis is like, Tyrus, you could do better than her. She means her. And he's like, I'm just doing what you want. I'm just doing what you told me to. She's like, ugh. And so they're talking about it. They're in Tyrus's little ship, and all of a sudden, a missile comes through the window, tearing through the ship. They're in space. They're about to die. Tyrus yells at her,
Exhale!
and she's like, and so she doesn't get like, you know, apparently it's a thing where like in space, if you have air in your lungs, it'll like explode. And so thankfully that doesn't happen. And so they're like clawing their way through this room that's no longer air pressurized to get to the like oxygen thing, because like of course it's a safety feature, every ship has its own little, you know, oxygen chamber that you can get to in the case of something like this happening. And so they get over there, but once they're over there, there's only one little oxygen mask, and they're like, oh no. Tyrus is like, we'll share it. Well, also all this is happening as they're like dying. Well, not dying, but you know, like the air is gone, so they're like
We'll take turns.
like that. That's what's going on. Okay, so Tyrus is like, okay, so obviously we take turns. And she's like,
Nah, we don't know when people are gonna come, because, like, obviously, everything's been sabotaged. Like, the fact that there's only one mask, usually there's, you know, more. So, like, okay, like, let's be frank. It's the Emperor. The Emperor sent the missile, obviously, right? Because you've been making moves against him. And, obviously, the oxygen chamber has also been tampered with. So, we're dealing with that. And now, who knows, like, does anyone know? Like, normally there's some sort of alarm system that goes off, but who knows? Who knows if that's what happened? So, like, we don't know how long we're gonna be here, so we can't be sharing the oxygen, okay? So, like, you need to take it, because you're the important one.
and again, this is all happening through like little snippets, you know, shaking her head and like, no. And like in her head, she's like, he's the important one. He keeps giving it back to her, and she keeps like giving it back to him, the oxygen mask. And he says,
Closet, no air, take turns.
okay,
Sabotage, no more talk.
passes the mask back. And then she says,
You're valuable, you take it.
she like gives it back to him. And then he like grabs her and kisses her again, and she's like,
What?
mwah. And he says,
See?
and she's like,
See what?
and he says,
Both of us, or neither.
fudge. He says, both of us or neither. And she's like, no, he won't listen to her. And she's like, you know what, forget this. She like headbutts him, knocks him out, straps the oxygen mask on him, and then like awaits her death. She's suffocating. And as she's suffocating, she realizes like, I have been so stupid trying to be like, I'm tough, I don't fall in love. When like, obviously I'm already in love with this dude, but like I was afraid of being in love with this dude, and that's what happened. But like, it's too late now, so oh well, goodbye life. And she's like, ugh. She passes out. The end. Okay, so she wakes up. Cool air running over her face. She's like, she hears Tyrus. He's like,
Shh, I have to sleep.
she's like, And so she acts asleep. She's like slitting her eyes, like peering around the room. They are on another ship. It's Cygna's ship. Cygna, the grandmother.
You have made an enemy.
Cygna. So she like came and saved them. Yay. Which is also like, sure she did. She's like,
Tyrus, my grandson.
and he's like,
Grandmother?
she's like,
The girl is so foolish to have tried to give you the oxygen mask. I guess she really does love you.
and Tyrus is like,
Yeah, I guess she does.
and Cygna's like,
How foolish.
and Tyrus is like,
No, it's not foolish, Grandmother.
so they're talking. Tyrus is like,
I would credit you more for your assistance if I weren't fully aware you must have known this attack was coming.
and she's like,
You imply I'm responsible?
he's like,
No, I know who's behind it. You didn't carry it off, you're just playing the opportunities.
and she's like,
Curious, you reached all these conclusions without Sidonia whispering in your ear. I begin to suspect the rumors of her influence have it reversed.
and he's like,
Fine, I'm not crazy. I've been faking.
and she's like,
I knew it.
he's like,
Yeah, obviously, like, I had to survive, so I'm not ashamed. I will not apologize for that.
and she's like,
Okay, so maybe you will become the Emperor. But do you really think you can become the Emperor without me? Like, I'm the real brains behind this whole operation, so if you want to be Emperor, you need my support.
and he's like,
Okay.
she's like,
You're helpless.
and he's like,
Not helpless, Grandmother.
and that's Nemesis's cue, and she like jumps up, and there's like all these like security bots that like she had already like spotted, and so she's like, pew, 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 pew. She like gets all the security bots, and Cygna's like,
You're no human.
that's like a common theme in this book. She's like,
So you found yourself a Diabolic.
and he's like,
Yes, Grandmother. Now let's talk as equals.
and she's like,
You bonded to a Diabolic? How?
and he's like,
We're not bonded.
ooh, look, oh, that's pretty, okay, but I just got the shading right. No, I'm gonna do it. It's worth it. So anyway, so they have this big old talk. So now Cygna knows about her being a Diabolic and knows about his plan. The grandmother's like,
Fine. Are we allies or what?
and he's like,
Okay, yeah, we are.
she's like,
Sweet. Well, here's the deal. If you're my ally, you have to do what I say. That's how allies work. And I don't like this Diabolic situation, so you're gonna break up with her. Because now you're gonna have my protection. You're going to marry Elantra, that bully girl who, like, is the worst. But her, I can control. So she's gonna be your new blah blah.
and he's like,
Fine. You win. Yes, we will do it that way.
okay, so they go back to like a safe corner of his ship that isn't, with the missile sitting in it. And he's all mad at her. He's like,
Why did you do that and shove the thing and then like I couldn't even, like I tried to like give up my life for you and like you wouldn't let me.
and she's like,
Yeah, I wouldn't because I just didn't.
and he's like,
Why?
and she's like,
Guys, you're the Emperor. You're important.
and he's like,
You're important.
anyway, she finally like comes out with it. She's like,
Because I love you.
and he's like,
I knew it.
yeah, he's like,
I love you too.
and so they kiss again, and she's like,
So what does this mean? Like, are you still gonna, like, listen to your grandmother?
and he's like,
Here's the deal. The plan has slightly changed. I'm gonna have to play along with Grandmother because remember, she's the worst and she knows everything. And so we're just gonna have to like pretend to go along with her.
yes, I found it. Gold.
That's what we're gonna have to do, okay? I know I love you. So we're not going to stay like that. So we're just gonna play along with it. Like, okay, I will break up with you, as my grandmother says. Pretend, pretend, pretend. But then eventually we're gonna figure out a way to get rid of my grandmother and then we'll be together and I'll be emperor and everything will be awesome. So that's the plan.
And she's like,
Okay.
well, she's like,
Oh, wait, yeah. I got something I gotta tell you, by the way. You remember Sidonia? That girl who's, like, the end-all of my life? She's alive.
and he's like,
Okay, that is fine. That doesn't change a lot. I guess we need to go talk to Sidonia.
so he goes, he meets Sidonia. They like all agree that what's most important is Nemesis, which I thought was really cool. Like, if you were to line up these characters, the Emperor-to-be, a rich girl, and then her genetically engineered servant, you know who I'd want to read a book about? The genetically engineered servant. That's who, like, I want to know that story. So, like, good on ya, S.J. Kincaid. You chose the right protagonist. So, they do just that. Meanwhile, like, there is a little bit of, like, weirdness between Sidonia and Tyrus, in that, like, both of them love Nemesis the most, and both of them don't necessarily, like, get why Nemesis is so obsessed with the other one. But eventually they're just like, okay, cool, so we'll figure out how to, like, get Sidonia back to being Sidonia, but Nemesis can't die, even though Nemesis is like,
Obviously, I'll just die for my crimes. That's fine.
and they're like, no, we love you, obviously not. And she's like,
Oh, okay.
there's a little tension there, like, no, I love Nemesis most. No, I love Nemesis most. So he's like, we'll figure it out. Okay. So they go through with the plan. He, like, breaks up with Sidonia very theatrically. Now he's, like, dating Elantra. Then, after she's scorned as the lava, the Emperor, remember, that dude's still alive. He, like, calls her and is like,
Hey, come hang out with me.
he's got his Diabolics. And he's like,
We hate Tyrus now, right? You and me, the two of us. We both hate him, right?
and she's like,
Yeah, totally. I'm really sad. And we're definitely not secretly still dating.
and he's like,
You know, I was kind of wondering, like, what's been all this stuff that's been going on with him?
and she's like,
He's not in his right mind. Remember how he's crazy? Well, he is crazy, and Cigna is taking advantage of that. And she's, like, trying to turn him against you.
and the Emperor's like, Meanwhile, his Diabolics are like, nah, don't listen to her, King. Get her out of here. She's crazy. We hate her. And they're like, you need to get out of here. And they, like, manhandle her out. And she's like, but her job was done. She and Tyrus had already talked it through, that the next step was to sow contention between Cigna and the Emperor. So that's what they did. That was, in, like, success. Mission accomplished. Okay, sweet. So then Elantra and him are, like, suddenly getting married, which is like, okay, that's fine. And, like, I guess he's going through with his plan, because, like, they're not super able to, like, talk a lot anymore, because they're not supposed to be, like, together anymore. And, like, they're hiding that from Cigna. Elantra, like, decides that she wants Sidonia, because she still doesn't know that, you know, it's actually Nemesis, but is gonna be her, like, lady-in-waiting for this marriage. Nemesis is like,
Gross. Like, I don't want to hang out with you.
but she has to, because, you know, Elantra's now the, like, almost Empress-to-be. There's, like, a bunch of ceremonial stuff that she's supposed to do, but she doesn't really know how to do it, because, like, she's just been a bodyguard her whole life. Well, Sidonia knows how to do it, so Sidonia's like, look, I'm gonna pretend to be, like, your manners mistress, and I will come and I'll, like, help you through it. And she's like, cool. So they go to Elantra. It's like, wake her up with the sun. She's like,
Get out of bed.
and Elantra's like,
No, you have to do it right.
and she's like,
Awaken with the sun, most blessed one.
she's like, and so they get her up, and there's, like, this, like, anointing oil that she's supposed to put on her skin, and so she does. Well, then there's this anointing oil that she's supposed to put on her own skin that's, like, part of the ceremony. Well, she doesn't know what the design is, so then Sidonia steps up and she's like, I'll do the design. And Elantra's like,
No, she can do it herself.
she's like, no, I'm gonna do it for her. You know, she's like,
Fine, do it for her.
and so Sidonia starts putting the oil on Nemesis, and meanwhile Elantra's like,
Tyrus told me about your plan to overthrow the Emperor.
Nemesis is like,
What?
like,
We didn't talk about him telling anybody else about this situation, so, like, why would he tell Elantra, who's, like, not even a part of our plans?
and then she was like,
He also recommended that you be my lady-in-waiting.
Nemesis is like,
This is weird. Like, he knows I don't like you. So, like, why would he recommend that?
and then all of a sudden Sidonia is like, and they're like,
What?
she looks, and the oil that she was using to put on Nemesis was poisoned. The oil was poisoned! The oil that she was using to put on Nemesis was poisoned. Well, since Nemesis is a Diabolic, it's not really hurting her. But since Sidonia is just a weak little human, it's hurting her! And it's too late, and Sidonia dies. Again. That's tough, right? It's pretty tough. It's tough. It's tough to hear about. Sidonia dies right there in front of Nemesis. Nemesis is freaking out because she loves Sidonia. And she's like, I'll kill you for this, Elantra. And so then Nemesis kills Elantra and Elantra is dead. And then Cygna shows up. Nemesis is like crying. She's real upset. Cygna's like,
wow, I guess my grandson knew how to handle this situation.
and Nemesis is like,
What?
she's like,
Well, you know, like, he knew that, you loved Sidonia, and, that you would give your life for her, but then he knew it was causing him problems, so he got rid of her.
and Nemesis is like,
What?
and Cygna's like,
Yeah, I don't know.
and so Cygna is like,
I guess you should go handle that.
and Nemesis is like,
Oh, I will.
so she takes off. She's gonna go kill Tyrus. But then she's like, crap, I love him. I can't kill him. She gets to like the throne room and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna tell the Emperor what he did. And the Emperor will kill him. And then at least I don't have to kill him. So she goes there. She like busts into the room and she's like,
Your Majesty, I have learned of a plot against you.
and Tyrus is in there and he's like,
What are you doing?
and she's like,
Shut up. Here's what I'm doing. Tyrus and Cygna have been conspiring against you.
and Randevald, the Emperor, he's like,
I knew it. I knew someone was conspiring.
he's like,
Okay, we're definitely gonna kill all these dudes.
well then Cygna shows up and she's like,
You didn't kill Tyrus?
and Nemesis is like,
Whatever, you're going down, lady.
so then the Emperor is like,
Diabolics, kill my mother.
and they like, stop. And they like look at Cygna. And all of a sudden Nemesis realizes the Diabolics are not Randevald's Diabolics. They're Cygna's. So this whole time, it's been Cygna's Diabolic. I'm sorry, I gotta wait for this to dry. It's in Cygna's Diabolics. And Cygna's like,
That's right, son. These were never your Diabolics. They've always been mine. Diabolics, kill the Emperor.
and they do. Emperor's dead. So then Tyrus and Cygna are like looking at each other and they're like, okay, what do we do here? Because now there's no Emperor. We are enemies. But do we have to be? And Cygna's like,
Okay, here's the story. We're gonna tell everyone that Nemesis killed the Emperor.
oh my god, I love this. Okay, sorry, hold on. Look at how cute that is. I love it. Sorry. Okay, so she's like, we're gonna say that this girl did it. You're gonna be the Emperor. I guess you won't have an Empress. That's fine. You'll just be my little puppet. And Tyrus is like,
I guess that's what we've got to do, Grandma, because you've got Diabolics. Nemesis is against me for some reason. I don't know how that happened. And the Emperor's dead, so okay, fine.
so Nemesis is taken to the corrals to be held until her execution, which will be on the day of his coronation. I gotta wait for it to dry and I can't touch my lips together. Should I keep talking? I feel like it's stupid. So she goes to the corrals. She's like, whatever, it's cool. Sidonia's dead again, so like, I have no reason to live. Tyrus betrayed me. Okay, so she's in the corrals. She's just gonna hang out there until, you know, death comes for her. That's fine. Tyrus betrayed her, and now he's gonna be the Emperor just like he wanted, so hooray for him. Well, then he comes to the corrals and he's like,
Hey, I didn't betray you. This was all my grandma's doing.
and she's like,
Yeah, right, Tyrus. Like, I know. You're super smart. You do a lot of stuff. Obviously, you came up with this solution. It solves all your problems. Now, you get to be the Emperor. Sidonia's not in the picture anymore, so, like, you don't have to share my love with her. If Cygna hadn't come and told me that you did it, then I would never have thought that you did it, and you would have had me. And, like, that's all you wanted, isn't it?
and he's like,
Don't you understand? Like, I admit that, like, yes, Sidonia was like an issue between us, but I would never do anything that would hurt you.
and she's like,
Put it on a t-shirt, because I don't want to hear it.
and so, yeah, so he's like, and she's like,
I don't know what I'm saying.
anyway, so then it comes to his coronation day, and she goes, and she's like,
Whatever.
look at these glitter lips, I love them. So she goes. Cygna's there, the whole court's there. Tyrus is about to be coronated, and then they're gonna send her off in this capsule to die in a star. It's fine. Well, then all of a sudden, Tyrus, like, he's like,
No!
and then like out of the crowd come all these people and they're like pew pew pew, and then get the Diabolics out of the way, and like all of the people who like aren't on Tyrus's side are out of the way, and she realizes these were the people from Luminar. Remember those people way back, you know, on the planet? And he told them like he just needed their support to get the Empire. Well, here was how. They were like his secret agents, and he smuggled them in for the coronation day onto the spaceship, and now they've like subdued all of Cygna's supporters. And so he's like,
Grandmother, Nemesis will not be going into the star today. You will.
and Cygna's like,
No!
and he's like,
Look, this is gonna happen, but is there anything you wanted to say, you know, to people?
and she's like,
No, why would I help you?
and he's like,
Okay, how about this? You're gonna die, but I will give you this little injection thing to where it'll be like a painless death that you can administer whenever, if you will confess your crimes.
and she's like, So she's like,
People, I am the one who killed the Emperor, not Nemesis.
he's like,
Good. Anything else?
and she's like,
No.
he's like, she's like,
Alright.
she like turns to him and she's like,
Nemesis, Tyrus wasn't the one who killed Sidonia. I set that whole thing up to, like, break y'all's relationship. So, you know, I'm the one who did it.
and Nemesis is like,
I don't know what to believe.
side note, I really do think it was Signet. Because remember, she wouldn't have even have thought, like, it would not have even occurred to her that it was Tyrus who did it until Signet said that. And so I feel like, what are the odds that Signet would just show up to conveniently point the finger at Tyrus, right? So, like, obviously she did do it, but Nemesis is like,
I don't know what to believe, but I guess it's better to believe this than to believe that the love of my life betrayed me.
so she's like,
Okay, fine.
so they send Signet off into the star. He's like, you're going to be my empress. And he is now the emperor. And that is the conclusion of book 1. There's 2 more books in the series. They are both excellent. I really love them. I probably will cover them here on my channel. Isn't that cool? I probably will cover them at some point on my channel. But for now, I am done with this world because it's taken me 3 whole videos to get through this one book. So it's probably gonna be a while before I go over books 2 and 3. Unless you like Soups request it and are like, please, please. And then I'll be like, oh my God, my fans. All 11 of you, which I appreciate. No, but I'll cover it later. I think we're gonna switch over to another book series now. I'm thinking Animorphs because that's my fave. Anyway, if you want more content, do all the YouTube things. Like it, subscribe it, comment. I would like that. I feel like that would be a cool thing to do. And I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.